continuous transition and toggling between the user mode and the kernel mode. I mean, every second, several times, or every minute rather, not second, every perhaps every millisecond, there is a transition that is happening between the in the computer between the user mode and the kernel mode. And now what does it translate to? User mode means you are doing something like you are playing a PowerPoint, you are copying a file, you are typing something, you are moving the mouse, you are deleting a file, you are writing a mail. All this is user mode. You are actually doing that. But what happens to the processor? The processor may be doing what the user has asked you. This thing. Just hold on. Sorry. So it is between the user mode and the kernel mode. It is toggling hundreds of times in a minute. In milliseconds, it is toggling. A user mode means that you are doing something, and kernel mode means the operating system takes control. That is the meaning of the kernel mode. So when you are having control, the user is having control through an application program, could be Word, PowerPoint, that is user mode. And when the operating system is having control, it is kernel mode. And in a minute, thousands of times, it may be in milliseconds rather, this toggling or this transition between the user mode and the kernel is happening. And that is what this thing. And to know that, there is something called a mode bit. When it is 0 means it is kernel mode. When it is 1 means it returns to the user mode. And every time you are pressing something, there is something called a system call happening. That I will explain in the later class. But for now, you understand that every minute, hundreds of times, there is a transition from user mode where you are having control, and kernel mode where the operating system is having control. Right? Now, the last thing is, where are these operating systems used? Operating systems are used everywhere in all kind of traditional computing environments. In a computer, there is a operating system. In a network, in an intranet, there is a network operating system. Even when you are having a Wi-Fi router and network which is wired or wireless, intranet means you have a wired connection between all the computers. There is a network operating system needed. When you have wireless network also, it is needed, and so on. Now this mobile phone also has got an operating system. You know about Android, Google Android, and Apple iOS. They are also operating systems for the mobile. Distributed computers, when computers are connected in a network or in a distributed fashion, they are also operating system is needed, whether it is a LAN, a local area network, whether it is a wide area network, whether it is a metropolitan area network, whether it is a personal area network. All these also require an operating system. That is a network operating system. Similarly, client and server applications need an operating system. You might have heard about a client and server. A server does all the work. Client is very thin, doesn't have much resources. As and when required, the client goes to the server and takes it, and so on. Then there is something called a peer-to-peer network. Peer-to-peer network is an intelligent thing, interesting thing rather. In peer-to-peer network, every computer is connected to each other. Every computer acts like both a server or a client. It can be a server, it can be a client. So what is happening is that everybody is like a server, everybody is like a client. Everybody can each other's facilities and activities. That kind of freedom is provided in a peer-to-peer network. Now, peer-to-peer, Skype is an example of a peer-to-peer network. Napster was probably the biggest disruption in the music industry, where music sharing became very simple. I can go to your computer and listen to the music that you have downloaded. You can come to my computer and listen to the music that I have downloaded. And this Napster became a revolution, or rather a huge disruption in the music and entertainment business, that all the music companies went to court, because nobody was going to the music shop buying music or downloading music on iTunes or something like that. Nobody was doing that. Everybody was just sharing each other, virally sharing music through the Napster software across computers, across devices, and that completely disrupted the music industry. Music industry was almost shutting down when they went to court for copyright infringement, and then Napster had to shut down. It's a very famed story. Just 1 minute. நான் சொல்லி இருக்கேன் 20 வரை நம்ம ஃபியூல்ஸ் இருக்குல்ல So that kind of thing was happened through this disruptive network of the Napster. Then of course Sean Parker had to close down Napster because of the copyright infringement, but then the concept is still there. The concept still remains. Skype as of now is also free, but then moving forward you don't know what will happen. Then of course something called a cloud. Now cloud is I'm sure you've heard about cloud. Cloud is a very interesting idea. Cloud platforms you might have used, like Azure, Microsoft Azure, Amazon EC2. So the idea of cloud is very simple. You don't need to have hardware. You don't need to have software. You don't need to have storage. You don't need to have platform or operating system in your computer. Your computer can be thin. It can be a thin client with nothing, just basic memory to execute programs, basic processing, basic simple processor, simple operating system, simple platform, simple storage. That's a thin client. Now you want hardware, you can go and subscribe to the hardware, take it for a period of time, use it and then get out. You can use software as and when you need it, take it and then drop it. You can have operating system. Even operating system is available on a cloud. You can take it, use it and then drop it. So that subscription, you can subscribe to the hardware when you require. You can subscribe to the software. You can subscribe to the platform as though you would subscribe to a cable connection. That is possible in the cloud. So as a result, the total cost of ownership is reduced. You don't need to buy big servers, huge server farms, thousands and thousands of lakhs of rupees. You want to set up 5 servers, it will cost you something like 20 lakhs. You don't want to do those things. You can just subscribe to a cloud service, a server service on a farm or a data farm or a data store, and you just don't have to pay 15 lakhs. You can pay say 2 or 3 lakhs subscription to the server. That's enough. And there is a concept called virtualization, which is very analogous to the cloud. You can virtually have those servers. You are not having any physical servers in your campus, because servers are costly. You need space, you need air conditioning, you need electrical connection, you need fire, you need people to maintain the server, you need cabling. All of these is going to cost you money. So rather than spending 15 lakhs on servers and 5 lakhs on a room to keep the server with air conditioning, you just go to a cloud service and subscribe. maybe 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs per year. You are saving 10 lakhs. Now, there are other issues. You don't know the security, because they will say, the cloud provider will say, oh, your data is so secure, nothing will happen. All these we don't know, but ultimately you are saving money. You are not spending money on servers, you are not spending money on licenses of software, you are not spending money on storage and so on. You can just subscribe. So that is the promise of cloud. Cloud is a good thing because there are security concerns, but still, you can have software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, hardware as a service. All these are possible. Now, in the cloud, there is a public cloud which anybody can pay and connect through by paying money. There is a private cloud that is within your campus, within your company, where other outside people are not allowed to use, but it's only for you. And you can have a hybrid cloud where it's a mix of public and private. Now, and inside the cloud, there is a VMM, or a virtual machine manager, which will take care of the how these computers are managed from a cloud. One interesting thing I want to tell you about the cloud is that cloud is not a new concept. Actually, cloud became very hot in the last 10-15 years, but even in the 1960s or 70s, I think 70s or 80s, there was a concept called the network computer, where the logic was the computer is the network. That means everything is in the network. So it's not actually a very new concept. It's an old concept, but they rehashed it and brought it as cloud today. And now it is very, very common. In fact, I'm slightly deviating, but today people talk about enterprises being SMAC, S-M-A-C. S stands for social, M stands for mobile, A stands for analytics, and C stands for cloud. I'll repeat. Today, computers, or rather enterprise computers or applications, need to be SMAC in nature. Social, S is social, M is mobile, A is analytics, C is cloud. So an example, is like, Netflix. Netflix works on this Mac model. To some extent, this Apple iTunes also works on the SMAC model. YouTube, to some extent, has got a SMAC. There is a social media interface where you can give comments. There is a mobile app where you can access the content. There is analytics where you know which are the popular songs, which are the popular movies, which are the trending movies. There could be sentiment analysis where, based on your social media post, you come to know whether it's good or bad, and storage is on the cloud. So many applications are trying to be SMAC now. It's a very interesting trend because I have already told you power of social media, power of apps, and so on. So this is the way forward. Applications need to be having a social media component, having a mobile component, having an analytics component, cloud for storage. Netflix is probably one of the best examples. All the movies on Netflix, maybe Amazon Prime also, I don't know. Netflix, all the popular trending movies or sitcoms or comedies there is an analytics engine that analyzes which are the movies preferred, which are the movies this thing. Even in Amazon, you go for a purchase, you will see trending. That's an example of SMAC, that how is it trending? How do you know it is trending? It is based on somebody's social media post or somebody's app post or something like that, right? Finally, there is something called a real-time embedded system operating system, RTOS, which is probably the operating system that is used in your embedded system inside your refrigerator, inside your air conditioner. When you click or type when you press the remote, or this remote of the air conditioner or the cooler, there is an operating system inside this also that makes it work. And finally, open source operating systems. We are going to see a lot of this. Open source, where there is no copyright, there is clear something against the digital rights management, started with the GNU public license, which evolved into Linux. So Unix was always there. Unix is a very stable operating system. Unix had several flavors, but parallelly a GNU movement came through Richard Stallman, and that GNU movement got married with the Unix, and Linus Torvalds and others built the Linux platform. Then Linux is so open source that there are thousands and thousands of flavors of Linux. Even Unix had many flavors, but like Solaris and all, but still ultimately what happened is that Linux became very, very popular. Even though it's open source, a lot of flavors came. Companies started making applications based on Linux, like Red Hat and so on. So we will be doing some mostly for focusing on Linux commands for our lab. I hope you have all downloaded the Linux platform, or if you don't want Linux, you should do a VirtualBox. Please keep it ready, because hopefully next week we will start the lab. That's all from my side. I'm going to close the class. I think everybody is present. I hope I'll mark you. No need to take attendance.